Your boy, Bert Kreischer, is coming to New Orleans Saturday, February 8th. He's bringing Nikki Glazer, Tony Hinchcliffe, and Adam Ray as Dr. Phil.
We'll be right back.
Get tickets now at Ticketmaster.com.
Yeah, there's just something about when you're in high school and you hear, I know I'm unlovable. And you're just like, yes, I know. You don't have to tell me I'm unlovable.
You grew up in Omaha in the 80s.
Correct. I was born in Madison, Wisconsin in 1970, and we moved to Omaha in 1971. So my whole childhood was in Omaha, except 1 year, 1979, fourth grade, we moved to Washington, D.C. because my dad did a sabbatical. So it went from like total white bread.
Wait, is your dad a priest?
Sabbatical, doctor.
Oh. I thought
to do
sabbatical.
research.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Look, I don't read a lot, so it's so funny. I always thought, I know your last name.
There is a word that you're thinking of that's similar to sabbatical.
Yeah, I'm thinking of whatever it is. So, wait, what did your dad do?
He's a pharmacologist. He's retired now, but he was doing research on medicines.
Nice. What was Omaha like in the 80s?
Omaha was a lot cooler than people would think. You know, that we had like a punk scene, a ska scene. You know, there was, it was a great place to grow up. A lot of freedom, a lot of wild behavior, drinking, drugs.
I love Omaha. It was Boys Town popular then?
Yeah, that's an important part of Omaha history.
Father Flanagan?
Yeah. And, Malcolm X is from there, Johnny Carson, President Gerald Ford. And, so Omaha is a cooler place than people would think. But I think we did have to, in 311, push back against some like, oh, Omaha. I was like, just wait till you hear us.
Yeah, it's funny because I grew up in Tampa and we never had any I've said this before, but I never really experienced civic pride because I just did a podcast with my buddy. We were talking about the most annoying cities for men to be from. And it's like, anytime you hear a guy go, I'm from fucking Brooklyn, you're like, wait, calm down.
Yeah.
You don't understand. We're from Texas. And you're like, okay, that's right. You guys are all, but I never felt that growing up in Florida until I went to Tallahassee and went to Florida State. And then I was like, oh, this is what it's like to be a part of a community. I always felt like we weren't good enough in Florida. And I was like, I
relate.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when we first got out to California and people heard we're from Omaha, they might kind of dismiss us at first. And then we just were relentless. You have to be relentless and not accept any preconceived notions. When you guys came, by the way, I cannot wait to talk to you about fitness. I'm obsessed. Let's go.
But I am more obsessed with 311.
I'm so happy to hear that. I
did
not know that.
For real? They called last night and they're like, hey, would you like to have the band 311 on? And I was like, absolutely. Like, I don't know if we can get the whole band. We can definitely get Nick. I was like, dude, fucking anyone. I've had Peanut on. I discovered 311 at a perfect time in life. And it was, I was just saying this, it's a hard band to explain because it was in a time, you guys really popped in a time where rock was blending genres somewhat, where I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think you guys were pre-Limp Bizkit, you were pre-Sublime, and all of a sudden everything
just barely, but yeah,
just barely. But I tried to explain it to. She goes, "What kind of music is it?" And I said, "It's like a little bit of reggae, but it's real rock. It's kind of punk. There's like a little vibe of hip hop to it, but it's almost genreless."
Yeah. So I couldn't wait to get out to LA because I had heard Jane's Addiction, Chili Peppers, Fishbone. I mean, these are genre blending, genre blasting, defying any kind of boundaries. And I was like, wow, you can do funk with like a punk rock intensity of energy and actually like have chops. You know what I mean? It's not just like super fast, but like those are, Flea's incredible. And so I couldn't wait to get out to LA. But when I first got out to LA, it was, besides those bands, it was still Appetite for Destruction, metal, and hair metal. And I worked at Guitar Center on Sunset Boulevard, and I met all these metal guys, and I was like, where are the Chili Pepper type? I met the Chili Peppers, but where are the type of musicians that want to do that? And honestly, I couldn't find them. So I realized, my best bet is to go and hook up again with my high school buddies. And that was Tim Mahoney. He and I had a cover band. We were doing alternative of the 80s, which was like REM and The Cure and the Smiths and just all this college rock, and a lot of those U2, they were an alternative band for a good while, and they just like REM, they just stuck to their sound and waited for culture to come around to them. So that's what we did. But I came out and kind of floundered around LA for a couple of years in '88 and '89, and then we formed in Omaha in 1990 on June 10th, opening for Fugazi. What a killer first gig that was.
You opened for Fugazi?
Yeah, which is another genre blending band, so.
Fishbone. I bought Fishbone my first day of college, 1991. I bought a Fishbone album, and I was like, and I put it in, I did not know what I got. And
Truth and Soul. It's just incredible.
What the fuck? Dude, it's crazy as you listed those bands. What's also insane is I liked everyone you just mentioned. I never, it was the mood I was in was okay, today's a Cure mood.
Yeah.
Or Jane's Addiction had a fucking grip on me for a while. Jane's Addiction's interesting too, because I don't wonder if you're like me, you're only 2 years older than me, but Ritual de lo Habitual was such a big album.
Yeah.
That then it took an older brother to introduce you to I'm coming down the mountain.
Nothing Shocking.
Nothing
and
Shocking.
And even the live album they had done before that. That's when I first heard them with
Pigs and
Trip
Zen.
Away. And
Trip Away? How fucking crazy was that?
Yeah, and then to have this really heartfelt ballad of Jane Says and this heartbreaking story about this, gonna kick tomorrow. How many times have I said that? What an intense song.
God, I'm it's so funny. I haven't really listened to, I used to like to get weird, get drunk and by myself late at night and then just deep dive, all right, we're just working with the Pixies tonight. Or the Smiths was the first time I ever did it. I came home from Vietnam and I was off and I had a bottle of wine and I was like, I'm going to really get into the Smiths. I'm going to really go through song by song. Isn't it crazy that Morrissey's huge with Mexican culture?
Yeah, they love him. You go to a Morrissey show and see so many pompadours, Mexicans with pompadours. I love it. And they have this cover band called Sweet and Tender Hooligans that's really big with LA, Hispanic, Southern California that does all Smith songs. But yeah, there's just something about when you're in high school and you hear, I know I'm unlovable. And you're just like, yes, I know. You don't have to tell me I'm unlovable. It's looking back, it's really? Did I think that? Yeah, I guess at the time I felt I was unlovable.
The reason I drink is because of songs that the Smiths have sang. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to never drink again in my life simply because of Panic on the Streets of London, Panic on the Streets of Birmingham, I wonder to myself. I hear that and I just go, da-doom, doom. Those songs are so, what's insane to me is I never really, you said this and I never really understood it. But as a kid, obsessed with music, you're into everything. And then you come out to LA and you see their scenes. And you're like, oh, wait, I don't want to buy tights.
Yeah. I'm not.
I can't wear my clothes on stage.
Spandex. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the punkers weren't around the Sunset Strip. You know what I mean? They're going to be down at Redondo Beach or whatever. But I did do a lot of just going in the LA Weekly and going to the Coconut Teaser and Club Lingerie and, the Roxy, and just watching as many bands as possible. And man, I learned a lot. I was still the bass player at that time. I was really into bass playing because after hearing Flea, I was like, wow, you can have the bass and also Sting, that the bass can be like the bedrock of a band and be a really important instrument. But then when I got back to Omaha, Chad said he had met this kid who was like 15 at
Peanut's
the time. Peanut.
Remarkably younger than you guys.
Yes. And
when I did the interview with him, he kept saying stuff like, I don't know, man, they go to bed early. Like,
and he, I was ready to just like be the front man after, watching like Perry Farrell and Anthony Kiedis. And I realized that I didn't want to be a bass playing lead singer. So we got Peanut, and the lineup quickly gelled, and just we got very, very popular in the Midwest. And then we were able to show, like, here is a top 10 albums list from the local record store where we're at the top and like Michael Jackson and U2 are below us. Like, we were blowing up that much. So we were outselling big time artists. So, we found a label that was interested. By the way, I was listening to your podcast talking about Widespread Panic. Their two artists were, three. They had Cake and Widespread Panic, and 311 was Capricorn Records. So there's a little.
By the way, had all of those albums. Yeah. They had my fucking number.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah. Wise A&R department there, and they actually did some really cool things. Like, they guaranteed us 2 albums. And they said, you guys are going to build up through touring. We're not going to try and like blow you up on the first album. You're guaranteed a second album. So they really, fostered us building this bedrock of live touring. So it wasn't like a flash in the pan. And somewhere about halfway through our career, or maybe 10 years in, we were like, let's be like the Grateful Dead. Let's put touring first, and we'll make the albums when we get around to it. But summertime, that's touring time. So we always kept that relationship going with our fans. Other bands don't do that. They might take years off and stuff, but we're like touring first.
I'm curious if you get into bed the same way I get into bed, that when you jump into the bed, you start going, yes, yes. It's so fun getting in bed, but it's even more fun when you have a good bed. I have the best bed in the world. I have a Helix mattress. We have the Luxe one. We did. Very simple. We didn't know what mattress to get, so we took their sleep quiz. It takes 2 minutes. I am a side sleeper, and I was having problems on my side with our old mattress in my rib cage, and it was hitting my whole vest. We have the Luxe mattress. I've had 0 problems on my side. I've had 0 problems in my shoulder. Have you ever woken up in a hotel bed and your top of your shoulder's numb? I have none of that. They've got the best options. They've got for big and tall sleepers. They've got one for kids. You have to go to their website. But the best thing yet, they've got a free bedding bundle, 2 dream pillows, sheet sets, and mattress protector with any Luxe or Elite mattress order. I'm telling you right now, you deserve to be sleeping the best you can. You deserve to get in bed and pump your fists that you've got one of the best beds in the world. Get 25% off site-wide, 2 free dream pillows, and these pillows rock, with any mattress purchase at helixsleep.com/Bert. That's helixsleep.com/Bert. I want you to sleep as good as I'm sleeping. Ever start your day feeling like you're dragging your feet before you've even stepped out of bed? Oh my God, so often. Most green powders taste like lawn clippings and barely give you the boost you need, but not Morning Man Greens. Morning Man Greens is the ultimate morning fuel. It's packed with 95 milligrams of clean caffeine from green tea and coffee bean extracts, plus over 75 vitamins, superfoods, probiotics, and digestive enzymes to power you up and improve your gut health. And if caffeine isn't your style, do not worry. It's available in decaf too. So you can choose how to start your day. Unlike those other green powders, Morning Man Greens actually tastes amazing. It got rave reviews from thousands of satisfied customers who ditched their old routines for this game changer. I personally feel the difference right from the first try. No more sluggish starts, no more awful aftertaste, and no more energy crashes, just pure sustained energy all day long. I got to be dead honest with you. Sometimes when you're working out, you don't want to drink coffee and be having hot coffee as you're getting on the treadmill. I want to start my day with just green energy. And that I work out like the Incredible Hulk. For a limited time, Morning Man Greens is offering our listeners an exclusive 20% discount. Head over to morningman.com/Bert and use promo code BERT20 at checkout. This deal won't last long, so grab it while you can at morningman.com/Bert and use code BERT20 and start dominating your mornings with Morning Man Greens.
But we're like touring first.
It's interesting. My perspective has always been exactly that. And then I got remarkably burnt out. And I just was like, for me, it was the lift of promotion because I'm the only one that'll do everything. Like I have to write the material. I have to sell the TV shows. I have to sell the movies. And then I have to do the promotion. I have to think of the promo video to promote the tour. I had dates that need help. I need to do that. And so I got
well,
to a place.
You've got a small army here. What would tell me about the burnout? Like, what did that look like? Feel like?
Honestly, a small army just means more people bringing things to you. It really does. I mean, there was a day that I had to walk downstairs and go, just so you know, I'm available to answer questions. From now on, I'm not giving you pushback. Because what it would be was, one person wants to talk about flights. One person wants to talk about dark ads. One person wants to talk about, and it was just, I hadn't been there in a while. I was taking time off, but I had a Vegas date. And it went real quick. For like a second, they went back to like what it was like when I was on tour. And I watched myself bubble over. And I was like, oh, I need the time off. I need the time off to just think of some fun ideas or write the hour. But also I don't have it's just me. Like you guys have a band. You're like a team. I'm jealous of that.
I see you got a Whoop. Do you get enough sleep?
Let's talk about this. I guess, were you into fitness when you were drinking?
Yeah, I really felt that I had so much antsiness in me that I knew that I felt better after I would lift weights or do a run. But then after I quit drinking, I haven't drank in, it was like 18 years last week. Then I was like, I got more into it because I'm such, an addictive personality that was like, I need my highs, and, booze and drugs aren't available. So that's a place where I can get it,
Yeah.
And now I try and frame it more. It's just like as mental health. Like there was a really interesting study came out in February that, treatments for depression. And it started out with like light exercise, SSRIs, antidepressants. And then it would be like, moderate workout, plus SSRIs, and then, weights. And then the very top thing was dancing. The very top thing is dancing. So what I try and do, like it was way apart on the chart as effectiveness for a treatment of depression. So what I try and do is make my workouts like I'm dancing. So I get on the elliptical and I crank in time to the music. So it's like, I'm just like syncing up my chi or whatever you want to call it and getting a good workout. And that makes it fun. And even when I'm lifting weights, I'll be like,
yeah.
And that just, it makes it like I'm dancing. It makes it fun.
I do that. I got busted by when I used to work for Travel Channel. I would get on the elliptical in the morning and listen to music. And I've always been a big drinker. And my thing is I always wake up early. I have to work out. For me, it's mental health. But in a weird way, it's actually physical health. Like if I wake up, like last night, we watched the Dodgers, got a little lit, came home, watched Peaky Blinders with my wife. I remember taking a vape pen hit before I went to bed, and I got in bed and I woke up this morning going, okay, I slept well. Only got like 60% on my Whoop. But I'm like, if I don't drink, I'm 98% almost every night. Heart rate 56 beats per minute while I sleep.
Yeah.
I track with this stuff. I'm like, these wearable fitness trackers are the most valuable thing in my life. I swear by them. Right now I have the charger charging downstairs, so I'm at 22%. I look at this daily. My workouts are based on I have my strain coach. I have to get a 12 on every workout. I have to get my heart rate up. I track my heart rate. And what's funny, you say this, I was with this guy, Cameron Haynes. He's a good friend with Joe Rogan. He's one of the greatest bow hunters in the world, but just a wild, fun dude. And he does a podcast called Lift, Run, Shoot. Or Run, Lift, Shoot. So you go out and run with him. He runs like a marathon every day. You go on and run with him. You lift weights with him, and then you shoot bows and arrows. He said something so casual, and I can't not see it now. He said, we were getting on the trail, and I said, hey, how you doing? And someone was like, hey, good, how you doing? It's a good hike. And I was like, yeah. And I said, yeah, man, everyone's so friendly here in Oregon. And he goes, no, it's because they're working out. He goes, everyone's got dopamine. Everyone feels good because they're working out. And now every time I go for a jog, I go for a walk, I go for a hike, I notice you don't see anyone hiking angry.
Yeah.
Everyone's smiling, and it is a flood of dopamine to your brain or whatever it does. For me, that moment when I lay down on the mat at the end of my workout. Today we ended with, I got to work out with you. I'd love for you to come over to my house and work out with me and my trainer. I really love it. And it's crazy. I've done it with a couple actors where we do a podcast and I go, dude, come over and work out with me. Today we closed with a 12-minute cal on the bike, on the whatever the fucking, I call it Hitler's tricycle, but it's the bike with the arms on it. The assault bike.
Okay.
We did 12 power push-ups where you push off the mat and catch yourself, push up. So you got to get air. And then we did these cross-throughs where you put your arms here, you get you in a bear crawl, but you swing your leg, you lift your arm up and swing your leg out. We did 20 of those. And that moment when I got done my very last set and I dropped to the ground and I'm done and I'm catching my breath, I've never felt more alive. I don't have anything on my brain.
Yeah.
I'm not ruminating on a thought. I am just so fucking happy.
Yeah. It's a magical thing. I think a lot of people are missing out. And I like to work out before the shows because it will get away any sort of sheepishness, any sort of like, I feel like once you like put a lot on the bar and then like once you can do that, everything is easier after that. That's the hardest part of your day is lifting those weights. So then emotional things are easier after you've done that difficult physical thing. I think it's the same appeal of like cold plunging and different stoic kind of things. But to me, that's always just been like, it's easier to work on your physical health and your mental health will follow.
It's funny you say you like to work out before a show. I do a summer festival every year where I take, anywhere around 35 comics, switching them in and out through the weeks, through like 5 weeks on the road, and we take them on tour. It's like 6 tour buses.
It must be mayhem.
It's chaos. But what's chaos is that they're all hard partiers. Everyone's a partier. And only a handful of us are partiers that work out. A lot of guys, Big Jerkson, you're never going to get him to do anything physical. Love him to death. He is going to be smoking cigarettes first thing in the morning. But it's funny because I like to work out before I go on stage. I'm like very strict with the schedule. I take a nap from 4 to 5. I'll let it go until 6. But at 6 o'clock, I work out for a 7:15 showtime. I have 2 comics for me, but at 6 o'clock, I start my workout. So that my workout goes all the way. I'll take it to 7 o'clock, get done, shower, get ready, and I feel phenomenal.
Yeah, I love that pre-show routine, and mine includes a nap too, and then getting hyped up for the show and getting to work out and running, singing my scales and doing a lot of stretching. You got to really keep your limberness going when you get into your 50s, and I'm not gonna let it go, man. I'm gonna keep daily maintenance to not. You can fight old age a lot more than people think. You have
50
to be
doesn't look like 50 anymore. When my dad was 50, I was hiking with my daughter, and I said to her the other day, "Can you imagine Papa doing this?" And she was like, "No, did he ever do it?" And I went, "Do you know he used to run marathons?" She was like, "No." I go, "But when he was 50, when my dad was 50, he became an old man.
Yeah.
He stopped lifting weights, stopped working out. Like completely.
Yeah.
And at 50, today I benched 235 6 times at the end of my workout. My dad, I love my dad to death. He has a hard time getting out of a chair. And I've been very fat. Getting out of a chair, that's like the number one thing. When I get out of a chair, I go, thank God I do squats.
Absolutely. And that's why I like the functional side of working out. Like I do F45, which is functional.
Fucking tell me about F4. So I'm obsessed. Okay. Tell me about F45.
So it's just, first of all, it keeps your muscles guessing because it's different every day. And one day is a little bit more strength focused and one day is a little bit more cardio focused. But they're 45 minutes, which is a great length. You just show up, you don't have to think. And it's got a really nice vibe of everybody like high-fiving each other. Maybe a little bit more females than males there. It kind of depends upon the time of day. In the morning, it's more females.
You're just selling this to me. By the way, more females than males means I'm not going to get in my feelings when some dude's cheating on his fucking reps.
Exactly.
I got in trouble at a CrossFit gym because I was like, he's cheating.
Yeah.
And they're like, what?
I'm telling.
Yeah, I go, I used to have a joke about it. I said, hey, the black guy's not doing all his burpees. And this guy's like, hey, man, we don't talk like that in here. And I go, what? And he goes, he's got a name. I said, I don't know it. That's why I call him the black guy. He goes, what's your name? And he's like, Steve. I go, hey, Steve, the gay guy says I can't call you the black guy, but do your fucking burpees. I have a weird competitive vibe where I was saying to someone, I would push myself in CrossFit until I threw up. That's how I knew I did a good workout. So if I was throwing up, then I was good.
Yeah, but didn't they get in trouble for that? Because what is that state that you can reach where your muscles are actually eating yourself or something?
my fucking, Rogan got into that. It's called dipso. Dipso?
Yeah, and they even had shirts at CrossFit saying, I'm in that state, which is like very dangerous.
Oh, it's so dangerous. It's when your kidneys start eating your muscles.
Yeah.
We used to do Sober October every year, me, Rogan, Ari, and Tom. And we'd instill like a physical challenge. And one year, our physical challenge was who could burn the most calories this month. So we tracked our calories every day. And I mean, we were burning wild calories. And then at the last week, Rogan decided to just fucking amp it up. He would watch John Wick in his gym and just nonstop work. I mean, he broke his fire alarm went off, his sprinklers went off, and then he got, what is it called? Hepto? It's my what? Rhabdo. And Rogan got fucking rhabdo, and he's like, hey man, I gotta stop.
Yeah.
He's like, this isn't good.
Yeah, that's like that lacrosse workout a few weeks ago when like all these people had to be, hospitalized because they were doing these half squats around the field for so long, some Navy SEAL. But yeah, you got to be careful. But
so what's an F45 workout look like? Like what was it the last time you went? What did it look like? I love doing this.
Yeah. I mean, I hear I've actually only done CrossFit once. It's like CrossFit in a way. But it'll just go from, different pods and you'll work out every muscle in your body. They do have a choice. Some days you can pick more upper body or lower body. And there are, you can get a chest strap. So there's a leaderboard so you can compete, which you would enjoy to come in first in the class. But, there'll be some like older women there that kick your ass, just surprisingly.
Savages.
Yeah.
Just savages. That's we did a chest strap. Tom had found this chest strap community. And I think we signed up for because you had to be attached to a gym. And so our leaderboards would go to this gym. And we are competing this month and who can burn the most calories. And our stats would go to a gym. I think it was in Omaha. I'm not even fucking around. And I only said that because I know the club there. So I remember thinking, I wonder if anyone knows me. And this is before Rogan. I mean, Rogan was famous, but he wasn't as famous as he is today. And our names, Joe Rogan, Bert Kreischer, Tom Segura, Ari Sphere, will go on their leaderboard. And there was a fucking woman who beat us every day.
Yeah.
Every fucking day. I was like, what is she running from?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Like when I did the race up the Empire State Building to raise money for multiple myeloma awareness. It's a form of cancer that my mom has been beating for about 12 years now. But anyway, And I came in first in the male division, but there was a female that just kicked my butt.
Oh, it's crazy. There's a woman, Courtney Dewalter. Do you know who she is? She's an ultra marathoner, and she beats every fucking guy.
Yeah.
And he just kills him because it's like at a certain point, it really becomes will. It's just will.
Yeah.
We all know cats are picky. If you have cats, you know cats are picky. And we have 2 cats. And we've gone through a ton of cat litter over the years. And by far, the best for us, by far, is Pretty Litter. And here's why. Pretty Litter's non-clumping formula traps odor and moisture. It's ultra absorbent. It's lightweight, low dust, and 1 6-pound bag works for up to a month. And this really gives me peace of mind because we have 2 cats. They're both upstairs. And sometimes when Leanne has a busy day, I'm not there to change kitty litter. Pretty Litter changes colors and indicates early signs of potential illnesses for our cats like urinary tract infections, kidney issues, and more. And if that wasn't enough, Pretty Litter ships free right to my door. We never run out. I don't have a huge kitty litter bag taking up space. And even better, I don't have to lug those huge tubs from a store into my car, into my house, then all the way up the stairs. I'm telling you right now, this stuff is a no-brainer. I like it the best because you can kind of keep track on your cat's health the entire time and just check for color changes. Pretty Litter is amazing. You got to try it. Go to prettylitter.com/Bertcast to save 20% on your first order, and you get a free cat toy. That's prettylitter.com/Bertcast to save 20% on your first order, and you get a free cat toy. prettylitter.com/Bertcast. Terms and conditions apply. See site for details. Does Blue Chew work? If you're asking that question, we want you to know Blue Chew is putting their money where your mouth is, where their mouth is, and your mouth. It's giving you a month for free. Blue Chew is an online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but at a fraction of the cost and in chewable form. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. These things work. They work. They work. If you want to bring the thunder to the bedroom, I'm telling you, I've always said this, 4 p.m., it's witching hour, baby. It gives you something to be excited about, like a treat coming down the line. And Blue Chew wants their men to be rock hard. They've told me that. Their mission, they will not stop until every man is bricked up like a brick house, till every tent is pitched, till every rod is raised. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code Bertcast at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code Bertcast to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this podcast and my night the other night. Are you doing like bench press or is it on a machine?
No, well, it's free weights.
It is free weights.
Yeah, there's dumbbells. You'll do some pull-ups, but resistance and, push and pull, kind of going back and forth, and like 3 pods. And yeah, you're done in 45 minutes and ready to move on with your day.
So wait, what exercise, this is my favorite question to ask people who work out. What exercise do you see and you go, ugh? Like mine are man makers.
I've been doing those in the past few days. I haven't had time to go to any classes. I love man makers. And the way I do them, push up, then a row, and then a row, and then I hop to my feet, and then, do a deadlift, and then a curl, and then a press, and then do it back down.
Jesus Christ.
So, but it pretty much gets every muscle.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you just do that for like 8 minutes straight, that's like a killer workout, and you're getting your heart rate up and just touching every muscle. Like if you only have a short period of time, I get on the elliptical for 8 minutes and cranked in time to like drum and bass, and then go straight into man makers, and you can have a great workout in 15 minutes.
Do you have a Spotify workout list?
Yeah, I've got a running playlist where when I'm running, I use drum and bass a lot for
drum and bass. What is it? You're getting like into my favorite things to talk about.
Cool.
So there was an app I had once. I wish I still had it. It would change the beats per minute of a song.
Probably Rock My Run. Yes. The sound quality isn't fantastic on Rock My Run, unfortunately, but So I have a playlist, and I think I've shared it. That's all like about 155 BPM for running. Because with running, you really need, it's all about gravity and your height and everything like that. So you need a very specific. On the elliptical, you can go anywhere from like 120 to 180 in BPMs.
Yeah.
But yeah, drum and bass is really kind of making a resurgence. It came up in the late 90s with like Ronnie Size, and then it kind of went away and gave way to like dubstep and stuff like that. But it's coming back, and it's great for working out because it's real steady tempo and a lot of energy.
My trainer listens to a lot of country, and so he'll put country on, which isn't that bad. I don't mind. I like country. It definitely doesn't hype you up to work out. Like Tool, if I listen to Tool, I can go to the darkness.
Yeah.
Today we listened to 311.
Nice.
And my assistant Peter was like, who was born in 1990, I think, was like, what is this? And I was like, oh, buddy. And then there's
a whole realm to go into.
I listened to. I know you guys have an album coming up, but I did listen to a new one that was just
came out on Friday.
Just came out on Friday.
Yeah.
Okay, I listened to the album. In the fucking bio, they're like, he's got a new album coming out. And I was like, I think I just listened to it. It's fucking awesome, man.
Thank you.
Awesome. We listen to that. I mean, there's bangers. Like what's the biggest song you guys play when people lose their mind? And okay, how about this? What song do people lose their mind to the most? What song do you think represents your band the most? And what's the sleeper that you go, man, that's the song. I'll tell you what, that's the best thing we ever did. And no one really fucking, because I have jokes like that.
Yeah. So as far as a sleeper, there's a song on Mosaic called Places That the Mind Goes, which was this really kind of.
But I'm so sorry. I'm such a bad interviewer. This is so badass that this does this on the app. This is so cool. Can you see this? This is so fucking cool. I'm sorry, Mosaic.
Oh yeah. So Places That the Mind Goes is a bit of a sleeper, but Beautiful Disaster. It's so awesome that you said you wrote a movie script with that title. It's because it really just paints a picture. Like once I came up with that title, I was like, that Beautiful Disaster. I mean, that just the juxtaposition, the oxymoron of, but so I think that's a really good song. My mom loves it.
It's the best.
It just paints a picture.
It's the best song. It's the best song. I've used that. I've stolen from that song of quotes of lines from that song, but I've called things like I've often said I'm a beautiful disaster. It's just such a great fucking and I just feel like it's just such a great fucking song.
Thank you. I mean, Amber is our most popular song. And that is just, I love the way it's become so much part of people's lives. Like we got married to that song. We fell in love to that song. And there's just something about the passage of time. Like I'm really glad that people love our brand new album, but it takes living with it for a while to really become part of your DNA. So I get it. When I go to see, the Stones, I want to hear classics, even if their new stuff was great. I really, there's something about, hearing stuff that you've had so many memories to. So,
I mean, this fucking album cover, this album cover is so iconic.
Yes.
You could tell if the dude who was driving you was cool, if when you flip through his CDs, he had that album cover. That album cover is possibly the most beautifully simplistic, brilliant, bespoke album cover I've ever fucking seen. I love that guy. And when I see it, it takes me to a place when you had the big fold out of all your CDs and you'd open and you'd flip and flip. Oh yeah. Fuck me.
Those Case Logics with all the CDs in there. And when I was like, let's have a blue logo, but we'll call it the Blue Album, but it'll just be self-titled. I was like, once we really find our stride, then we're going to, have a self-titled album, because it was our third album, but we felt like, okay, now we are completely in the zone and we could just feel this grassroots groundswell building up. And so for a long time, people thought that was our debut because so many people heard that, the Blue Album, as for their introduction to us.
And the very first song.
Yeah, we close shows with that one a lot because, and another one that we close the set proper with Creatures for a while because that's kind of a more Beatle-y kind of version of Down, and then we close the encore with Down because it can't be topped. But yeah, we just love to have no rules. Like anything goes in our music, and anything we like, let's put it in. You know, our very first single was called "Do You Right," and it was like a Latin groove, bum 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 bum, and you know, it was just stuff that no one else is doing. So we just try and keep having no rules.
It's so wild. Do you when you go into write an album? How collaborative is it? And I'm also obsessed with, like, you have an organization called Escape. Am I right?
SKP, yes.
SKPE.
Escape. I'd love to tell you about it. So,
because I'm obsessed with how everyone's getting fucked.
Yeah. I'm so glad you brought it up. But what was the first thing?
When you go into write an album, I always wonder. It's a weird thing that will happen with comics is like, sometimes you'll be working on your hour, especially if you're working on your hour. It's very collaborative. Someone sees that you're getting ready to get your hour together. People go, hey, I got a great tag for you. Then there's other times when you're all just at the club and someone will see something you did and realize, oh, I can figure that workaround. And then they'll just take your thing and go like, that's mine now. I'm
fascinated with the behind the scenes, like who's a hack and all, you know, and like how you put together like a set. I mean, so in answer to your question, you know, when you're young, an angry young man, you can just sit down and fill up a page. But I think as time goes on and, I like the song Amber, I just wrote it in one morning by myself. But after a while, you like to sit down and work things out with collaborators. You need to find new ways to say things. So sitting down with, and Peanut, even though he can't sing, he's become more of a voice in the lyrics. So like me and S.A. and Peanut will sit down sometimes with our producer and just workshop stuff. And so it's moved more towards collaboration, where in the beginning it would maybe be just one guy would sit down and write it. You know, we're one of the longest running original lineup bands that there are today. We're in like the top 5. U2 has they've got everybody beat. But as far as original lineups, of course the Stones have been going longer, but they've changed members many times. We are the same 5 dudes from 1990.
Metallica just lost one, right?
Yeah, they changed bass players.
Yeah, but they lost the one guy.
The guy died, and then they had Jason Newsted for a while, and now we've got my neighbor Robert Trujillo.
Robert Trujillo's
the sweetest, awesome dude.
He's fucking rocks so hard.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what I think's cool as fuck. Same thing with Morrissey. We saw Metallica at SoFi. It was very Mexican. Like it was a lot of Mexican dudes going like, Fah! And I go, that guy, he's the Fernando Valenzuela of rock and roll.
And he's so versatile because he was playing bass in Nickel Creek, the virtuosic bluegrass band with Chris Thile, the greatest mandolin player in the world. And Robert Trujillo was, if you watch their videos from like the early 2000s, he was their bass player for a while. But yeah, so he's super versatile. But you were asking me about SKP. I'm glad you asked. So we came up with the name because my wife came up with it, that we're trying to help people like myself become major label SKPs. So SKP, the letters spells out SKP because we're helping.
SKP,
yes.
SKP.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And, so it's basically a tech platform, a music business tech startup that we're doing where an artist can get all the services they need and not have to sign a crappy record deal. What does a label do for you? Distribution, publicist, social media, radio, all those are gigs, and you can get all those on our platform and maintain all your ownership. And it's also a co-built kind of collective that the more business you do through it, you become an owner. No label is offering ownership. And that was part of the motive. Like I remember once I went into the Capricorn Records They had just bought this huge, they bought like a post office in Atlanta, and it was converted it. It looked like a House of Blues with all this like folk painting. It was like this beautiful office space. And I walked in there and the secretary was like, you guys paid for this for them, right? I was like, motherfucker, we never got any ownership in the labels that we helped build. And so that we're fixing that with SKP where, and we did the new 311 album. And so artists can still compete with the major label people, but then they become an ownership of, become an owner of our platform, and they maintain the ownership of their masters.
This is a really horrible question. How are you supposed to dance to 311? Like
freely.
I really feel like there's like one foot should be in front of the other foot, right? And it should be pushing energy back and forth, and your hands should be moving. Like I
love it. Yeah, I mean, I love heavy music. Like we had this magical experience of going to see Pantera in Orange County in 1995, and it was the wildest pit, but a lot of anger, and I saw a lot of people get black eyes, and like there was a lot of fighting and stuff like that. And 311 pits, especially during that time, were just as wild, but they weren't angry. It wasn't fucking hostile. It was a celebration. Like it doesn't have to be angry.
It's crazy. I was talking to a comedian. I can say his name, Nate Bargatze, and he was talking about my relationship with my fans, in a curious way. And I think it was the first time he saw it this way. But he's like, "You like your fans?" I go, "I fucking love my fans. I'm actually sometimes jealous of my fans." This is gonna sound so narcissistic that they have me, because I wish I'm not saying. I
can cop to the exact same feeling. How fun would it be for me to hear 311 for the first time? Like this would be my dream music, because it's everything I like.
I go, right? I swear to God, I see my fans sometimes when I was in Savannah. I was doing the Enmore Arena, and we were taking a walk down by the water, and I saw a bunch of my fans going into like a Jimmy Buffett's, like a big like a bar, and they're gonna get wings and have margaritas. And they had like my merch on, and I went, I want to be with them. Like I would love to love something, have a group of my friends that love it too. Like I'm always taking people to things I like, going like, hey, do you like this? It's Fluffy, Gabriel Iglesias. Fluffy's one of the best, probably one of the biggest comics we've ever had, we'll ever have. He did Dodger Stadium, sold it out. I mean, he's massive. He's so talented, and he's so generous. He got a box at the Eagles, and he said, I'm just bringing fans of the Eagles. Now, me and my wife love the fucking Eagles. And we got into a group. It was the coolest thing. For the first time I've ever gone to a concert with 22 people that were obsessed with the Eagles. And there was like, the sheriff was there. Richard Pryor's manager was there. I mean, it was the most bizarre group of people, but we had an absolute fucking blast. And I always say that I wish you could get to experience 311 the way I did. And I'm sure you've had equivalents of that where you hit the song and you go, no. I'm listening to this one song 100 times. This will be in my head all day long.
Yeah. What you're saying reminds me of a couple experiences. One of them was on our cruise, which we talked about before the show.
And I want to talk about it again, because you guys have, I think you guys do it twice a year, right?
No, every other year. Earlier this year, we did 311 Day, which is our big Vegas extravaganza. It's basically like a convention where people come from all over the world. And then on odd numbered years, in the spring, we do a cruise. And I think we're doing our 8th coming up this next spring. But one of the times we had costume night, and me and a couple buddies dressed up as ninjas. So I got to like blend and mix and be, because I was in a ninja suit and nobody knew it was me. Yeah. So I got to be in our fan base, and everyone was so fucking nice. It was like, oh, cool, a ninja, high five. Like, I was like, what a cool thing that we've created. It's different when they recognize me, because then like,
hey, would any of you guys suck Nick's dick if his wife wasn't looking? Wow, those ninjas got a lot of questions about Nick.
But it's super important to keep being a fan. Like a couple weeks ago, I stayed an extra day in Jersey to see the Boss at Asbury Park. Bruce Springsteen just crushed it. And it was such a magic, and to be in the crowd, I didn't have any like on stage access or anything like that. I had a good seat, and it was surrounded by New Jerseyans singing so loud, and just to feel what they were feeling and being a fan. And also, the dude is 20 years older than me and performed over 3 hours and never stopped. He never goes off stage for a costume change or just song to song to song to song. It was magical to see what he can do. And it's another thing, like we were talking about earlier, you don't have to just, oh, I'm old now and I'm going to stop. No, you can push your body to do incredible things.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. I want to give a shout out real quick to my dad. He has always been there for me, been an advocate for me, supported me, and given me love. This month is all about gratitude. And along with my dad, who I just shouted out, there's another person we don't thank enough. That's ourselves. Sometimes it's hard to remind ourselves that we're trying our best to make sense of everything. And in this crazy world, that is not easy. Here's a reminder to send some love to the people in your life, including yourself. I thought about this the other day. I was talking negative to myself, and I thought, if that was someone else and my dad heard that person talking that way to me, he'd lose his crap. He'd stand up for me and be like, you don't talk to my son like that. And then I thought, why am I doing it to myself? So I took that into therapy, and I talked about that in therapy. My therapist was like, that's a great tool. Every time you start talking negative to yourself, think if your parent or your dad or your mom was listening. I'm so grateful to have my parents in my life. And if you're lucky enough to have your parents in your life, maybe try using that. I took it into therapy and it helped. And if you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist. You can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/Bert today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Bert. That's crazy. He was, when you guys, I'm guessing, when you guys were blowing up, who were the 50-year-old rock stars?
Yeah, well, I guess, yeah, to me, Paul McCartney is the greatest living musician. So, I mean, and, he's still out there doing it. He certainly doesn't need the money. You know what I mean?
Paul McCartney comes to your house for your birthday. Your wife's like, surprise, me and the girls kicked in. We got Paul McCartney. He can only play 5 songs, though. What songs do you want Paul McCartney to play?
Oh, man.
Play your new stuff.
No, I know, like Eleanor Rigby.
Eleanor Rigby is such a great fucking song.
Just and some of his sweet love songs, like Here, There, and Everywhere, and like the Rubber Soul stuff. I mean, he just, as far as I think, as a well-rounded musician, between songwriting, singing, instrumental, performing, like everything, he is the man. He is the man. But I was pretty jealous to read Dave Grohl's book about how Paul McCartney showed up for dinner one night, not too far from here either.
Really?
Yeah.
That's wild. What song do you find yourself playing on the guitar when you pick up a guitar? You go, I always do a G and a C, and then I always end up playing this Blind Melon song, Changes. It's just such a cool song.
God, it moves around a lot. I mean, I've become very obsessed with whatever song I'm writing at the time. And
so you're always, when you pick it up, you're never, I didn't even realize that. That's the dumbest question I've ever fucking asked.
No, but like there have been
because you write music, you're probably trying to do something new as opposed
first song I ever learned was Margaritaville by Jimmy Buffett, so I can easily just strum that and don't know the reason. But I think we're all just standing on the shoulders of giants. So it's important to be equally a fan and an artist. That's a
profound statement, and I think people need to be reminded of that. Is that you're not here by yourself. You didn't get here by yourself. A lot of people especially in comedy, they get there and they think, I just did it by myself. And you're like, oh, no.
It's community.
Without David Spade doing the Tempe Improv 8 shows, that started your path. And David Spade's just an example because I like David, but like David Spade and Norm and Sandler and all those guys and Brewer and all those guys did all the comedy clubs and were responsible for our comedy boom we got in late 90s, early 2000s. They were so pivotal in growing comedy clubs for us that's what got us opportunities. And I think sometimes people sleep on that.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I get such a thrill out of Derek Wells, the Nashville producer that grew up on 311, or hearing from the guys in Turnstile or 21 Pilots that our band meant, because we never got like the crazy accolades. We've never won a Grammy or anything like that. So just knowing that we're part of the family tree of some really cool musicians. I can hear little quotes of Amber in the Hamilton soundtrack. You know what I mean? Like, just to know that we were part of the family tree for other people, that's actually more rewarding than any like award.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like, I think I understand how you feel. And I feel like I'm never going to get like top 10 comics to watch. And I never did New Faces. You're doing pretty good. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. But I also do something a little different than what's in the marketplace right now. I do storytelling. And so I've always liked good stories. And I think a lot of people say, oh, I'm a storytelling comic, and they're just trying to write a little bit longer of a joke. And, but I've always been like, it's interesting. I wonder if there are people that feel like they got, I wonder if you get the credit, if it means anything.
Well, I've actually seen that it's a good thing that we never got all those accolades, because it's kept a hunger in us, and it's kept us like, we're just going to focus on our relationship with the fans, touring and working really hard to put on the very best show we can, working really hard on our albums, because we've always felt a little under the radar, which has been good for our productivity. I think when you're winning a lot of Grammys and stuff like that, that's when egos get big and people are like, I don't need those guys. Like, we know that we're better together than we could be separate. Yeah. So it's all worked out really well. But I love, research. All the stuff you're doing is amazing, and it's about what I want to participate in, which is the democratization of culture. The fact that this podcasting and this, it didn't exist, and it's a new way to like take the power back into artists, and that's what we're trying to do in SKP. And 311 has always been kind of on the forefront of like, let's rethink this music business.
When your moment you said when you walked into Capricorn and they had the big office in Atlanta and it just looked like a cathedral, and I had that exact moment talking to a person who I was doing a radio station, and I just casually saw a pen holder. There's just like a cup but it's silver and it's got graded metal on the side, and it's specifically meant to hold pens. Yeah. And it was filled with pens. And I remember thinking, who bought all those pens? And I was like, there's someone who doesn't even like think about anyone's checkbook, and they just buy a fuckload of pens because that's their job. And I was like, where's all this money going? And then when podcasting started to take off, I remember going into a meeting with a guy, and he was trying to sell me into doing a podcast with his network. He wanted his network, and we were all about independency. We were all about own your own podcast, have your own recording equipment, be your own fucking business. And I remember going into a meeting with him, and he was like, "Oh, this is great. You know what's great about this? You go into Texas, you need a place to record. We got connections in all the great records, all the great DJs, all the great radio stations. You can just go in and use their thing." And I was like, I remember saying to him, "Hey, who buys your pens?" And he was like, "I don't know. And I was like, okay, you're still part of the system."
No, it's important not to forget where you come from. And I stay grounded by we take care of a lot of animals. Like, I love to clean the duck pond. When I got back from this tech conference in Hawaii, I was like, I'm really looking forward to using the fucking power blaster, and because it's like caked shit around.
Yeah. How many ducks do you have?
We have 14. We have so many eggs. I really wish I would have brought eggs. I'm gonna come back and bring eggs. I'm a big
duck egg guy. So my wife used to run.
They're so rich, and
they're so rich. There's so much more yolk.
Yeah.
I think I ate wormed duck eggs one time. They were so good. I couldn't help it. My wife raised chickens, And then she ran a farm at our school that had ducks, and we would get the duck eggs. I fuck up duck eggs. Fuck up duck. What other animals do you have?
I have a ball python. We had chickens, but now we got rid of them in favor of the ducks. Unfortunately, we got a coop for the chickens, and a mountain lion or something just clawed through the side of our chicken coop. But the duck coop is very safe. I've got 3 dogs.
What kind of dogs?
Rhodesian Ridgeback is my favorite, but she's getting really old. She's incredible.
That was like the most gangster dog. I mean, when we were kids, I say when we were kids, if you knew someone who had a Rhodesian Ridgeback, you're like, where did you get it from?
Right.
It's like, I remember someone showed up with a Weimaraner. That was like the first exotic dog breed I saw. Everyone had labs. Labs and Rottweilers. Pit bulls growing up in Florida were everywhere. And I remember someone got Weimaraners, and I was like, shut the Vizslas. And then when I first moved out to LA, I saw my first Cane Corso, and I was like, what the fuck is this? We have 2 bull mastiffs.
Nice.
And
yeah, that mohawk on the back of a
badass
Rhodesian Ridgeback with that backwards hair looks so cool. But
J-Bo Beer had a Rhodesian Ridgeback at University of Florida, and we went up there and we were like, it's such a badass fucking dog.
So I used to not like cats because I was allergic. And then one time I was out on tour, and my wife's like, I hope you don't mind, but we're fostering some kitties, and they were bottle feeding them, and they would have died if we wouldn't have went and picked them up. And it's like, fine. But as soon as I get home, they're out of here. And then I got home and I was like, well, they have to stay in that room. They have to stay I'm deathly allergic. And then I was like, I'm not noticing the usual allergies. And then one night when no one was around, I went and I snuck in there and rubbed the cat on my face. And I was like, I've overcome this allergy.
Wait, I wonder if I've overcome my cat allergy. So I used to be deathly allergic. When I first started dating Leanne, I would have to hit an asthma inhaler to sleep at her house because she was obsessed with cats.
Yeah.
She's a crazy cat lady, and she keeps collecting cats.
Same.
Anytime a cat comes into our yard, she goes, checks for a collar. If it doesn't have a collar, she sets up a whole station for it. She goes, well, this cat's going to live here now. And then Isla had anxiety. Leanne got Isla a cat. So now we have 2 cats in our house that own the upstairs. But I don't have allergies anymore. Like I don't have asthma at all.
Yeah. The only thing I used to just my nose and eyes and sneezing, but now the only thing that bothers me when I play with them too rough, and it'll make my skin itch a little bit, but it's not a big deal. So we've been fostering kittens, and then I posted on Instagram yesterday, once we raised them to be 2.5 months old, we found some 311 fans and did kitty delivery to these 311 fans to place them with a forever home. So I guess we're, cat fosterers. We say, what do they say? Adopt, don't shop, just placing.
I would do that now. I didn't want to adopt when I had little kids. So yeah, I've seen so many videos of just dogs, and sometimes, especially a dog that's maybe been mistreated. Sometimes, and I just always wanted to. Yeah. I knew what I wanted when I had little girls. Is I wanted to know the dog that I got, and then I was like very specific. That was like the biggest thing when I was a kid was getting attacked by dogs. Everyone got attacked by dogs. It was like I remember getting chased by dogs. No one gets chased by dogs anymore.
Yeah. But so right now we've got my Rhodesian Ridgeback is getting really old. She's 13. I've never had a big dog live this long. And then we've got a golden retriever who's total a boy. And then we have this little Maltese that we inherited from my wife's parents. But my next dog, I want to get like an alpha that's like going to wrestle with me and tug of war and stuff like that. My middle dog he's too like submissive and timid. He's the sweetest dog, but I want to get one that's like, now that my kids are older, that's like a little more burly and is ready to like wrestle with. My daughters are 15, 13, and 10.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, you're still in the thick of it.
A lot of big feelings around our house.
You could not pay me.
They're wonderful, though. They're wonderful.
Could not pay me. You could not pay me enough to have a 15-year-old daughter again. That was the worst time of my life, was when I had a 15-year-old. It consistently felt like I was getting dumped. Like that feeling you have in high school when you know something's going on and you just feel like, is my chick cheating on me? Just, Dad, please leave me alone. And I was like, I didn't stop loving you. I don't know what I did.
Yeah. What's surprising to me, and I don't know if this existed when we were that age, is like the pressure to conform. Like my kids at high school, and I was driving by and I was like, that whole group is wearing the exact same outfit. The baggy jeans, the Uggs, and the black t-shirt and the black JanSport jacket. Like, you guys have a uniform, but there's no school uniform. Do you know you've chosen to wear a uniform? What is going on? But I don't know if it's more, maybe we did that. I mean, I was kind of an outlier at my high school, but that's just something that I've really been noticed. Like, I tell my daughters all the time, because they were like, I don't want to do that. Everyone will think I'm weird. Please be weird. Please be like, just be a rebel, because there's so much pressure to conform. And maybe it's because of the social media or whatever, but like, if anyone listening, please be weird. Just let your freak flag fly.
It was so fun being weird in like 8th grade. I went to an all-boys Catholic high school, so there was a real like setup to conform. Like, once you get there, everyone, I mean, first of all, we basically had uniforms, but the choice I made in 9th grade, I was introduced to Susie and the Banshees. I got really lucky. I've said this before, but I got really lucky. I apologize to this guy if I'm wrong, but everyone got big brothers in 9th grade. I wanted the quarterback or like the fucking star baseball player, because I was an athlete. And I got like a gay dude who was into speech. He was like into debate. And I was like,
I was on the debate team.
Yeah. And I was like, okay. I mean, I didn't get the one. Everyone else got like a dude that they like knew, they'd gone to the school. And
so it opened your mind to new stuff.
He picked me up the first time. Very effeminate dude. I apologize if you're hearing this, Sam, and you're like, first of all, what are you doing? But like, he goes, what kind of music you listen to? I don't know what I fucking listened to at the time, probably Beastie Boys or whatever. And he was like, this is Susie and the Banshees. And put it in, and I was like, okay. And then by like the first week, I'm like, I play what's the third song? I like that third song. And then he drove me to school every day, my freshman year, every day. And I learned about the Smiths, Susie and the Banshees. Depeche Mode. I think I would have found out about Depeche Mode anyway, but like all these like really kind of sensitive bands. And then when I got to school, I found the dudes that also liked those bands. And we all kind of like, and then all of a sudden, like all our friends liked those bands. But I go, I'm so lucky. Sometimes the thing you need isn't the thing you want.
Yeah. But Florida has a surprisingly large amount of goths, even though it's a sunshine state. Like, there's tons of goths there with like an umbrella. And my daughter Isla is like, it's so funny. She is a weirdo, and she was really delightfully
weirdo.
So, I'm sure.
Delightfully and confusingly, and like especially with clothes, couldn't buy her anything new. It had to come through a thrift store. It had to be black. It had to be oversized, cover up. Never saw this kid's shoulders. Still haven't seen this kid's shoulders in probably, I haven't seen her in 18 years. Since she was a baby, I haven't seen her shoulders forever. I actually offered her money one time. I offered her a lot of money to let me see her shoulders. And she was, one time, when she got to college, Leanne and I both got there and we're like, this is filled with weirdos. Like, this is a college filled with Islas, and that kid is thriving in a group of weirdos, and she's going to see the Deftones in a couple weeks. She doesn't understand. It's funny you say, like, if I go to see a concert, like if I go see a 311 concert, I'm going to hit you up and be like, first of all, I want to sit up front, but I want to end up backstage later, you know? And my daughter's like, absolutely not. I don't want to go backstage. I want to be in front. Get me in the pit. And I'm like, good. Oh God. I go, do you want to meet them afterwards?
Well, it sounds better out there. People want to watch from side of stage.
It's horrible.
Because we're on in-ears, so we don't have vocals on stage because they're in our in-ears. It only sounds good out in the audience.
It only sounds good out there. And so, yeah, Isla is like, I forget the band. I'm bummed. I should know. Five Finger Death Punch. And I was like, do you want to meet them after or it might have been Slipknot. And I was like, do you want to meet them after the show? And she was like, why? And I was like, I don't know, because they hooked you up with tickets.
Wanted to do.
That's what I would have wanted to do. And she goes, well, so they can say they like my dad? And I was like, no. She was like, no, I'm not going backstage. But yes, that's so what's your night look like tonight? You gonna watch the Dodgers?
Yeah. Wait, so there was no break, or is there 3 games?
3 games. This is game 2. There'll be a break, I think.
Oh, because I was kind of like, it's fine that they lost the 4th game because now it's going to come back to LA for them to win at home. But no, there's 3 games in the middle.
They've got to win. So they won the first 2 in LA. They won the first one in New York. They lost last night. If they lose tonight, they come back, and then we get to win the World Series here. And I say we get to win the World Series because no team has
because you're wearing the hat.
Well, you know, it's so funny. My daughter, I'm telling you all my stories, and I'm sorry. I'm so bad at this. My daughter came home from college, my oldest, and we went to Dodgers opening day. She said, "Can I tell you, Dad, what I missed the most?" And she goes, "It's going to sound kind of fucked up." I said, "What?" She goes, "Mexican men." She goes, "I don't know. Growing up, you don't realize how cool they are. Like, and how they just give you love. They're always cool." She goes, and then as soon as she said this, big Mexican guy in like a Kemp jersey comes up. He's like, "My boy." And he goes, "The machine, la máquina," and gives me a big hug. And I was like, "Oh yeah, you forget they're LA kids. You got LA kids.
Yeah.
You might have your core is made in Omaha. Yeah. As much as you'll always be a kid from Omaha. I'll always be a kid from Tampa. Yeah. But we got LA kids."
Yeah, no, it's true. But I'm glad for the Hispanic influence. It's a very warm and gracious society, and they're like, I love it.
Oh yeah, I'm going to a bar tonight that's predominantly Mexican, and you get nothing but love. It's like I don't know. I'm so obsessed with it that today I Googled why do Mexicans like the Dodgers so much, and I found an answer. You want to hear the answer?
Okay,
it's fucking fascinating. You know what the Chavez Ravine was? It's where Dodger Stadium is now. It used to be a big Mexican. What is it? Oh, I think it's called the Chavez Ravine. It was a big Mexican community. And when, like in the 50s, when they were bringing the Dodgers out from Brooklyn, they were like, "Yo, we need a stadium." And they're like, "Okay, this is back when racism didn't exist. It was just
we can move these people."
They would go, "We'll just replace them. We'll relocate them." So they just went into people's homes and kicked them out of their homes. So you don't live here anymore. We're going to get you a new home. And they demolished the whole area. And then they built Dodger Stadium.
It's kind of on a mountaintop.
But it was beautiful.
Yeah, it's like beautiful. The best real estate around.
Gorgeous. And so Mexicans in LA predominantly did not like the Dodgers. They were like, "This isn't our fucking team. Fuck the Dodgers. They took our home." 1980s, Fernando Valenzuela shows up. And now all those families that were displaced, the people that actually lived in them, they've all passed now. They've all moved on. They've passed away. And these are their kids or their grandkids. And Fernando Valenzuela shows up and he speaks Spanish. And everyone in LA was like, that's it's representation.
Yeah.
I see myself on the field.
That's what I love, that sports and music can be a source of cultural understanding, and it's a beautiful thing.
Music's the best. Music's the best. This has been a joy to talk to you. Honestly, I've been a fan since the first time I heard 311, I was in college at Florida State. I was obsessed. Living in New York, I wrote a script called Beautiful Disaster. I would force girls that came back to listen to that song as I acted out one of the scenes. I mean, it was so creepy. I told this all to Peanut, and it's such a joy to finally meet you and to find a dude who's obsessed. Oh, last thing I want to ask, what about diet? What do we do with diet?
You know, I was known for being the keto guy for a while, but
I'm hardcore keto.
Are you? No, I stopped because I felt I didn't have enough. I was having to take a lot of naps, and I was having kind of headaches and stuff. And so now I've gone back to full spectrum eating and just, try and do the smarter side of carbs, like have an apple or, that kind of thing.
I'll have an apple.
Eggs and apple is a great breakfast.
I had an apple last night when I got home, drunk as fuck. I ate an apple and I was like, I haven't eaten an apple forever. And then I peeled an apple. I opened up another apple. I made it for my wife. What about breads and pastas?
In moderation.
I can't touch any pasta, any bread. I have cheated, but like predominantly, I don't eat pasta. I don't eat bread. I won't eat rice, which sucks. I love sushi.
To me, it's just more important that I rev my engine every morning with some cranking on the elliptical. It gets away any aches and pains. It puts me in a good mood, and it kicks in my metabolism.
Have you ever gotten reached out by Mark Wahlberg?
No. I know he's one of the owners of F45. So if you're listening, Mark, let's do this.
We got to send Mark a message. Dude, thank you for doing this. And
this was super fun. And when I got the alert, I was looking, this is huge reach. Congratulations on your success.
Thank you very much. No, I think maybe the coolest moment of my life is listening to Down with you in the room and realizing that's you.
You got to come out to a show. We'll
Buddy,
stay in touch.
I will. I want to go. I wouldn't mind going on the cruise.
Let's do it.
Thank you.
Right on.
This episode was brought to you by The Machine.